Hi everyone, my name is Imu and I am React to the KH channel creator. I am also a huge fan of Lee. If you are here, welcome. You have impeccable taste. Lee is one of my favorite solo artists, if not my favorite. Like she's really up there. Because of her, I don't know if I've announced this on the channel before, but because of her, I have fallen in love with jazz. When I started playing classical music, jazz was just too much for me. I was like, why? Everything's so random. How can one enjoy this? But now it's the whole point of everything so random. And using these luscious chords to express emotion that makes me so intrigued in the genre. And thanks to Lee jazz fusion, it helped, it was a gateway to me being able to understand jazz more and enjoy it in a deeper level. And so I'm very, very, very excited to listen to this album. So joining me today, my React partner will be Seiji.
All right, hi everyone, my name's Seiji. I was formerly on Classical Musicians React. Now I'm an alumni, I guess.
Woo! Last I checked, Seiji had a giant crush on Lee, but don't worry, I told him that Lee has a husband and he's since then not said that he's had a crush on her. But he has the knowledge, I have the ignorance is bliss enjoyment of not understanding jazz but enjoying jazz. Okay, let's go. Starting off with the intro track, Candy Pianist. 3, 2, 1. She loves her descending fifth sequence. She loves her la-las, you know, because beginning of random. What are all these sound effects?
It's kind of syncopated, the piano thing she's doing. Getting the off beats, which is very jazz inspired.
3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Love the hits and how they changed every time it repeated. And every time this motif comes back, something's changed as well. Yo, how many layers we got? Yeah, and then
Okay, I'm not laughing because it's bad. It's just, this is, it's a modern jazz trick. A lot of times you hear this towards the end of a song and a drummer freaks out, so.
Little improv section. Oh, the bass is nice and clear. Something sounds like mouth noises. Oh, she loves climbing up like the blues scale.
Left hand soloing, that's a pretty modern jazz trick.
What is that? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, so people like Gerald Clayton do a lot of stuff like this. If you check it out, you'll hear it.
Ending where we started. Bum, 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 bum. Nah. I love everything about that. I love all the different sounds we use as percussion, and I loved the two sections that we switch between, very soft and short. So maybe you can picture them as like little round candies. And then we transitioned to the much longer flowy section with more luscious, drawn out, thick harmony. And that's what you can picture maybe as like a candy bar. A chocolate, like a big chocolate donut, that's the donut section. And then we had the improv section, which you can see as a combination of the chocolate bar and the small little candies, because we had many different rhythms going at the same time, you know, like the held out bass notes and more. And this is something that you'll go back because the delicate usage of all the different sounds as percussion, as, you know, a rhythmic experience towards the beginning of the track, since they have like at least three, probably more than three different sounds going on, panned in different directions, and you'll go back in and you'll notice something new. And the harder you listen, you'll start to figure out what that sound is, and it'll become more and more satisfying. I'll go into that later.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I think the one thing that it kind of is lacking is normally in this style, you'd get a lot more action from the rhythm section. So the drummer will be playing a lot more active and the bass player will be playing a lot more active. So what you had here, and it's probably just what you get when you have, I'd imagine, more of a production focus. You have loops and repeats, right? Instead of having someone play through the whole thing, and then like in a live setting, everyone will be playing in a certain place. And if, you know, you don't really get this too much in pop music, but in jazz you do, you get a lot more interaction going on in between. So the bass player is taking more liberties. And in this song, he didn't really do that. But, you know, I think it's context. Like, you wouldn't necessarily get so much of that in a pop track. You know, it's not a jazz album, so that's probably why it's like that. The only reason I'm saying that is because what they set up is pretty authentic in terms of what kind of musical techniques are being used. They're pretty similar to what a modern jazz musician would do to try to build up sections of a song where things build up and come down. The way she built her solo sections a lot like that. It's theme and variations, right? So you have the chords, you have them set up, you have the framework, and then the middle of the song, like the middle 45 seconds or so, when Lee-jin is improvising, that's what you get. Improvising over what she's already used, so the melody and the vamp that she has going on. So it was cool. It's all, you know, seems authentic. Sounds like a jazz musician wrote a pop song. So really neat. We need more of it.
So up next is The Wall Blocks Me. So at the time that we were filming this video, I don't see any English translations of the lyrics up, and Lee-jin's lyrics are very, very important to me. Like, her music does speak without the lyrics, but the lyrics add extra depth because they're always so creative. So I did find, actually, a review at the K-Meal where they do explain that this track is about facing a wall within yourself and the will to keep fighting it until you can climb over or break through. That's so cute! Sorry. Wall blocks me. 3, 2, get over that wall, girl! Climb up those stairs and jump over the wall. Oh.
Okay, that's neat. So it's probably going to be a duple meter.
It's a pentatonic. What is that instrument? Is it kind of sounds like a kind of kalimba? This is so motivational sounding. That flute sounded lovely. I really like her oohs in the background that blend really well with what other instrument she has in the background.
It's this planing with major 7 chords.
Bum, 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 bum. Oh, nice change of feels. Really gentle hand percussion, it sounds like. Oh no, that's a drum kit, never mind. Yeah, change of chord, keeping the note the same in the vocals. Change of harmony in the bass.
Okay. So now we're in like yeah, something like Jacob Collier would do.
What was that huge percussion hit? Yeah, I'm crying.
Yeah, so this left hand stuff, you know, these are modern jazz tricks. Having the left hand in the piano double the bass. Because in traditional jazz, you have walking bass and you wouldn't double.
A little offbeat. Oh. You go, drums. Was that some oboe that I heard in the background? Flutes, you have one thing to play, but oh. Okay, maybe it was a type of xylophone. I don't know what song that the rhythm reminds me of, but it's something nostalgic for me, which is why I was crying a little bit earlier. That's so interesting. I cannot wait to get the English lyrics for this and go back in and figure out what she's saying at what parts, because this song was really a satisfying adventure, because when we first started off, it almost felt like a soundtrack, I feel like, and when we ended, it almost felt like a soundtrack, you know, something classical, something you know, like a Disney soundtrack-esque. And then in the middle, it was a fusion of, you know, we had some synth things, we had the orchestra, not sure whether it was MIDI or real, but they mixed it in a way where that didn't matter at all. It wasn't like you were like, oh God, like this is so fake sounding, it ruins the song for me, nor was it, oh, those are real, you know? It was just perfectly mixed to where the textures came in when needed and the timbres were used in a perfect way that didn't interrupt at all. But this is one of those songs that I have no idea what's happening, but I can tell things are happening, you know? I would have to, you know, sit down at a keyboard and break out my theory textbook and try to remember 4 years ago what theory that I learned in conservatory. But there was a lot going on rhythmically, texturally, lots of nice, I think maybe possibly one of my favorite things about this song was just the flow of rhythm and how we would go from a driving rhythm to like little breaks. Like she really knew when the song needed variation and or a change, and she threw that in.
5 minutes later.
Oh my God, you know what I just realized? Gonna be a mighty king, so enemies beware. I think that's where I recognize the underlying rhythm from.
You have a lot of suspensions resolving to one. Common in gospel music, not too common in jazz music in that way, like that direct of a way. Next one, Dreamy Alarm.
So I did find the English translation for this song, and it's about waking up, a new day has begun, let's get ready. I love the lyrics, it's better to loosen your hair. Falling into my own world while imagining what looks beautiful. I'm gonna just cry reading the lyrics before the song has even started. Oh, okay. I already love it. I'm in. Kum kat katun Alarm. Alarm? Oh, alarm. I love Konglish. 3, 2, 1. Oof, early morning, huh? Little trill. Oh, almost a lick. So many. Okay, there we go. We ascended. Very awesome contrast and range.
It sounds like Hiromi. All right.
Ooh, she had some nice crunchy harmony in the background vocals.
Yeah, it's like a lot like Hiromi. Especially the bass going on. A lot of her projects have that sort of acoustic bass, not acoustic bass, electric bass sound.
Oh, that's a that's a roll. I was like, what the hell is that rumbling in the background? This bass part is constantly changing rhythms and how they play the chord progression.
Pentatonic scale up.
Yeah, those hits are so satisfying. Oh, isn't that her CEO of her company? Oh, so satisfying ending on a 1 while there's so much jazz harmony otherwise. Okay, we swung now.
So when people talk about jazz being Bach, that's what they're talking about. So when you have these chords happening right here, where they're going in between, what's letting you go in between all these chords is that there's dominant chords in between. So it's resolution, dominant, resolution, dominant.
Hey, Astro, remember, right? When they revealed his face, they had the strings run up. Oh. So we have 2 piano lines going on at that time because we had the underlying progression plus the improv.
That was pretty cool.
Oh. Wow, she wakes up so delicately. My hair does not look that good in the morning.
Neat.
Ah, it's so cute. Oh my God. I was half entranced by the music video and half entranced by the music that any detailed analysis just went in one ear and out the other. Apologies. Let's go back and listen to some moments. Yeah, some snaps. I wonder if they do have a full-on body percussionist throughout the entire track on top of the drum kit. Yeah. Lots of warm clap sounds, and there's also, some stick tapping. Yeah, even when they hit on an offbeat, it's really satisfying to land there. Then we're back. Do 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 do. Ah, I love the accent. So when they emphasize a certain, let's go back. Count with me, please. 1, 13, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That sounds like a timpani, or is it just like a really big tom? I don't know. Ascending. Register was played really nicely in this song because we started with so many low instruments and lower range of the piano, and then we've just expanded since then. I love when Ijina like kind of scats along with her piano. One and two. And oh, the pizzicato of the strings. Didn't notice that. Oh, such pretty bell parts. Yeah, the strings are panned heavily to the left. Ugh.
Something like that. Quarter notes are really groovy. You have to play them in time. And then you can use your left hand to kind of mimic the bass line. She does that in a couple of her other songs. And then there's been a lot of, I don't want to say smooth, but some of those more jazz songs that are in the hybrid, which are more along the lines of R&B, do that a lot. Kind of, if you see like the folks play with Chris Bodie, they do that a lot. Yeah, really cool. I'm glad this is entering into the K-pop lexicon, because this is good. And check out some jazz if you want to hear, where it's from. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. But if you like it, you should credit Legion. Noisily Anywhere featuring Toy. So that's a beginning that a lot of jazz pianists would do in a solo piano introduction. Kind of like Oscar Peterson, who she definitely likes.
I hear you, cowbell. I like the roll of the strings so far. Yeah. I think those are real strings. I mean, she had it throughout the entire album. Yeah, those are real strings. You hear the stand-up bass string fox.
Using pentatonic scales over certain chords in jazz, and she's doing that a lot here. I'll explain it later. And then right, she's got the quarter notes going again. But you know what the quarter note thing does is that it uses piano as like a rhythm setting instrument. Which like in more traditional settings you don't necessarily get, so well, it's dictating the rhythm more clearly.
And we're back. Switching to pizzicato on the strings. Oh! I forgot Toy was in here. I'm sorry.
Oh, she has an acoustic bass.
그런데 넌
Low notes he hitting.
자신 없대 지금까지 아무것도 한 게 없대 난 정말로 네가 만든 멜로디 피아노 솔로 얼마나 네가
Okay, so it's worth pointing out, try to listen to why this bass sounds different than what you normally hear.
시간을 잠시만 멈출까
Because we don't get the sound, right? It's a lot more open. There's a lot more body to it, natural body. You can hear when it's vibrating, and you can hear the attacks.
찾아볼까 마음 가는 대로 내가 문제예요 사실 내 역할임도 못하는데 난 어떡하면 좋을까
And that sounds actually like really important to jazz musicians. The electric bass just doesn't stylistically fit, and it's because of these sort of characteristics that you know, a lot of jazz musicians will really hate hearing an electric bass, especially when you're walking.
Yeah, then joining together. Yeah, you tremolo. Yeah. Oh, cute, cute.
Okay, so this pentatonic thing, there's a couple ways to explain it really quickly. It's like this shape. So you can do that in a lot of ways. It's 1, 2, 3, 5. And the way that can get interesting is, especially if you get into altered chords, that sound is consonant, right? If it doesn't sound familiar, it's like when you play all the black keys on a piano and it sounds good. Which is, if you didn't know that already, if you play only black keys, it'll sound good. The reason why it's pentatonic, it's 1, 2, 3, 5 in G flat. It sounds good. It's all in the same key, basically. So if you get that shape and you're trying to stretch the harmony, for instance, if you're doing G, you want to get it to be an altered. You get it in like D, probably in this key. If you had D altered, for instance, maybe a sound that you want is. You would want to stretch it in a way, but stretch it in a way that also still sounds consonant. And if you do 1, 2, 3, 5, hitting the extensions of a dominant chord, then it's going to sound consonant, but it's also not going to sound consonant because it's not just your straight dominant chord. Probably made no sense. It doesn't make sense to many jazz musicians either, so don't feel bad. But if you're interested in learning more about it, I teach piano lessons, so check it out.
I think my favorite thing in this song was the string parts. Da 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 da. Why? It feels so recognizable. I'm not sure what era of jazz, I'm not sure why I recognize it. I'm pretty sure, like at the very beginning, I was like, oh, throwback, because it reminded me of that song. And I'm not sure what that song is. I'm gonna rely on Seiji to educate me about that. But the strings, anyways. They have lots of offbeats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and She knows when to add driving forward moments and when to pull back. Ooh. Yeah, and then
여기저기 우리 지나 자랑하고 다니는데
so low.
여기저기 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 그런데 넌
Oh, it was just, the song is such a nice marriage of so many different things, and just once again, this album continues to be hella solid. Dust follows that with something a little gentler, something a bit more fragile. In the album description, she wrote that she saw the dust flying around during her bus ride home when the sunshine hit it just so. Inspired by its beauty, she wrote a song about it. I wish I could be inspired by... Actually, I have. So I was a synchronized swimmer. Sorry, little story. Oh, I was a synchronized swimmer when I was younger, and when we were practicing our figures, which is, I don't know how to explain them. Anyways, we were practicing our figures, and like I was underwater, and I had my nose clip on, so like, you know, I wasn't dying. And I was just blowing bubbles up, and I was watching the little bubbles ascend toward the surface, which then, in my mind, sprang an idea of a person dying underwater and staring up at the bubbles as they sink down to the floor. And then I wrote a book. So I guess I do get inspired by the little things. Well, I mean, back when I was creative, I was inspired by little things. But hats off to Ijina for writing a song about the dust floating through the air. That's really cute. We're doing the blanket experience this time, if this is gentle as the review says. 3, 2, 1. You use that brushes, percussionist. Oh, yes, use that shaker. Bunch of different shaking sounds.
So it's cool. It's like a ballad.
Like it resolves where you want it to.
This is why albums are good, because you have a song like this. You'd never put this out as a single.
Little harmonic shift. What is that instrument?
It's a beautiful song.
I love the piano that played in rhythmic unison with her and harmonized. It descended. Yeah. Once in a while the right hand will play. Ritardando into... Oh, suddenly we got really dramatic.
Yeah, it also sounds like church too. Powerful.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's the perfect tempo. You can really imagine, you know, the scene of what she was inspired by. Lift, and there's the left hand. Shh, symbol. This really slows down your heart rate, slows down your breathing. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, yeah, that was, let me take my pulse. Earlier today it was like 120, just because hashtag anxiety, but now I think it slowed down quite a bit. That was very, very calming and satisfying, and I kind of want to go back and see if there was an actual tempo change. It felt when we moved to that darker section to just everything in the low register of the piano being very loud, but like a warm type of loud. It almost felt like we changed tempo. I'm guessing we didn't. 122, 3, 2, 1. Kind of feel the tempo here. And then eighth notes. I think there might have been some. And then we went back to the original tempo, possibly. There's something about the chords that she chose here that kind of invoke, like it makes you want to start crying a little. Because it's a little bit hopeful. It's like, I think the chords here remind me of the chords used in that one movie where, you know, where they like slow motion running across the sand, that soundtrack. Chariots of Fire, right? These chords remind me of that. The same feeling that I get from that song. That was positively beautiful, and whenever I'm anxious and need to calm down, I will listen to that. And thank you, Ijina. Thank you for creating both really interesting and satisfying music and also music that you can use to slow down your heartbeat.
It's a really pretty song, and it makes me wonder like if she does tour a lot, because this would be a really good song to have, you know, classic second to the end song, which I think is exactly what it is in the album. But you know, it gets people calmed down, and then the last thing is going to be something that got people riled up and have hope for the future or whatever. Yeah, it was just really pretty. It felt like something you'd hear in church or something like that. Awake.
Sam Kim, what is up?
For the record, I said the next song is going to be something optimistic and hopeful for the future. We'll see what happens. Pretty optimistic, I don't know. It's open, right? But you still are asking questions. So pensive.
Repeating the same melody, but we have a different line in the piano.
Yeah, so what's cool about an album is that you can kind of have an arch, right? A story arch. And some people think of different things. You can kind of bring it back down for the last song, or you can end on something really splashy. I guess there's still some time for her to do something really flashy. You can do both, but we'll see. Right now it seems more pensive and introspective.
Ooh. Yeah, once in a while we have just some really nice shifts in harmony to get us to the next section. Oh, oh, I love that. I love that. We're gonna go back to 20-ish. Oh, the added harmony. Great choice.
Pretty triumphant, but in a beautiful way, not in a cocky way. I don't know. I'm a sucker for music like this, so. But, you know, I'm also a journalist, so that's probably why. Just a sucker for the storyline, story arc.
Oh. Sam Kim's solo track. I was expecting Ijina's vocals to come in, you know, maybe even background harmonies, but I'm glad that they kept it to just Sam Kim. His voice is so expressive in this song, and I would love to dive back in right before my computer dies because my camera kept stopping. I've talked about this before in a past video, but I absolutely love it when we have one melodic line going, whether it's in the instrument or the vocals, and we have harmony chinging around it even when that one line stays the same. It's like one of my favorite things to hear in music. 2/12, 3, 2, 1. So this one's in the piano. Da 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 da, and one da 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 da, or something like that. It just, you know, stepwise, the second line went down, and so we had, you know, harmony and then dissonance and then harmony and then dissonance, then harmony then dissonance. I really like that line a lot, and a lot of this vocal melody is da 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 da. I believe, right? Was that what you saying at the beginning? It's like you take this rhythmic fragment and then just repeat it, and then change tiny bit about the actual melody song. And then it was so, so the very small moments that we do use like harmony to propel us forward are such nice moments because they happen so rarely. And then I love when he came in with harmony. Oh, it felt so good. 3 minutes, or 3 minutes, 3, 2, 1. We even got some oohing. And so he's singing a lot more loudly in this section as well, so it is a climax of emotion along with dynamics. Lots of moving lines as well in the instrumental. When he's repeating da 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 da. Oh, the decrescendo though. Oh, another one I cannot read the lyrics for. This is a really good ending to the album.
But yeah, really good, very artistic. It's kind of like a page out of what Jacob Collier has been doing, especially with the strings and the voice. Just something really beautiful that still feels like a solution, but also an acknowledgement of what might be wrong. So really pretty, and obviously complicated. You can still feel really good like this song is. It's mostly major, and you feel happy, but you also feel like you just came across something, or maybe it's early in the morning, I guess, because it's called Awake. Granted, I'm not usually awake early in the morning.
I have so many questions for Seiji, so we will see you in a second when we Zoom discuss. I'm so curious, after listening to this album, would you say you are familiar enough with her improv style to be like, oh yeah, she tends to go to these things when she's improvising and versus, you know, like does she have tendencies when soloing?
Sure.
Could you improvise in the style of Lee Jin-ah? Do you know her style well enough to do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Do it!
Let me see. I mean, I can tell you like the kind of basic tricks she does.
That would be great.
Like
Yeah,
the
I'm
ones
really
that
curious.
you hear the most, right? She does like this a lot. I mean, it's not
Oh,
really
so
good.
like tremolo or trill and then down. climbing
Yeah,
down.
I mean, she does a lot of like this blues, just blues stuff. But yeah,
Oh yeah, those chords.
but it's
Da-da-da-da-da. What was that? What was that shift in harmony? The da-da-da. That.
it's like one. It's just 1 4 5 1. Maybe you have like flat 6. Flat 3 major or something like that. She's been doing a lot of. I talked about it in one of the videos. This pentatonic type of sound, but not necessarily a blues pentatonic type of sound, but just
okay.
because there's ways to impose that sort of pentatonic sound into a lot of different types of chords. And I mean, the blues scale itself is like really close to a pentatonic scale, right? It already has it in it. But a thing that modern musicians have been doing a lot is using like that. I guess in scale degrees, it's like 5 1 2 3. So like if you're going up like you hear something like that going on a lot, right? But that would be a way to play it that's like really consonant. And there's ways to play it more dissonant. Did she do it that way? Something like that. But it sounds it's interesting, right? Because it sounds consonant because that 5 1 2 3 is like a really strong consonant sound. But the notes that are actually happening over the chord and the bass note, it doesn't make any sense. So your ears just don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's how my ears react literally. What was your favorite track on this album?
I thought the first two were pretty good. And I think I mentioned this earlier and like somewhere in the reaction. But you can definitely see the story arch in the way she programmed her album. And I think in that regards it kind of makes sense because the first few songs are pretty exciting. And then she has that second to last song where she brings things down. Makes it a lot more like poignant. And then the last song is something that's a little bit more like there's drive and there's direction, but at the same time it's not bombastic isn't the right word, but it's very thoughtful.
A little bit more energy.
Yeah, totally. But like a very thoughtful, like goodbye for now type of energy. So that was my takeaway of it. I don't know. I like albums that are structured that way. So
Yeah, no, this is already just one of my favorite albums, not only because I just love her sound as an artist, but because of the flow. And it's very similar to her, the first album that I listened to by her, the one that starts with Stairs. Do you remember that song?
yeah, I remember that. It was like a Prove It album. That one felt like
A
here's
what?
like a Prove It album.
Oh,
I feel like that's what that album was. You know, because it had a lot of like really well produced songs that were really perfect. And that's like again going back to like why I think maybe this time she tried to do these solos more raw. I mean, she doesn't have anything to prove anymore, right?
Yeah.
So like there's moments in those solos where there's gaps, and in her earlier solos you wouldn't necessarily get these open spaces. And usually when you have open spaces as an improviser, it means you're thinking about something, right? Or you're trying to adapt to something that you just played that maybe you liked or maybe you didn't like, and you're trying to develop the idea further. So that is my guess. But again,
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot, because like the way that Random album takes place, it also starts wild and then it ends peaceful and hopeful and calming. And so it was similar with this one as well. And I think that's just why I love her as an artist, is because she can convey all types of emotions and have really creative lyrics every single time. And every single time, I think what amazes me about Ijina is that her music is both interesting, to the ears of a musician, and it's also super satisfying because she can sprinkle in those, at least to me, they're like unexpected jazz harmonies, right? And then she would resolve on one, and you're like, you're gonna go this note, this note, this note, and she does it. And then the next one, she goes like, and so she balances the satisfying and predictable with the like unexpected wildness really, really well, even in her ballads.
Yeah, and she's got like a lot of depth and sort of like musical and emotional characteristics that she tries to put into her music, which I think this album did a good job of kind of portraying.
This album was full of neat sounds, just continuing solid Ijina-ness, and it was great hearing Toy's voice and Sam Kim's voice as well. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you Seiji for bestowing your jazz knowledge onto us. People who don't understand jazz.
It's cool. I'm very replaceable now. There's so many people on the channel, but it's okay.
Except I don't know them yet, right? I know you for a year, or knew you for a year plus, and them I'm just like a few weeks into knowing them. So
Hopefully
still not
they're not causing
replaceable.
too much trouble. If you need someone to put them in their place, let me know. All right, guys. Thanks for having us. Thanks for listening, checking us out, and we'll see you next time. All right, peace.